My name is Mike Nakayama. Japanese American, third generation. We call Sansei. I was born about 3 miles from here in Baldwin Hills, and grew up in this neighborhood in Los Angeles. Right in the middle of this class, the drill instructor just comes running into, or stomping into class, and he goes, "Private Nakayama, stand up." And I'm like, oh. I stood up, and he goes, "All right, everybody, this is what a gook looks like. Turn around so everybody can see you." And I'm like thinking, why are you doing this? And all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel different, where I really didn't focus on anything like that before. And that was unsettling. And he goes, "Okay, sit down." Later on, my drill instructor comes into our, where we were living. And it's kind of a casual thing. We're allowed to smoke cigarettes. And this is after several weeks. And he goes, "Nakayama, come here." He goes, "Give me your wallet." I'm like, "What? You know, take my money now?" And he goes, "Let me see your pictures." And he goes, "Oh." And I had a picture of my parents, a picture of my sister, and my ex-girlfriend. And he goes, and he looks at this picture of my sister as a high school graduate. He goes, "Hey, she looks like this whore I was fucking when I was in Japan." And I'm, "What?" And you know, I'm like, "Sir, yes sir," you know, and they just do all this stuff to intimidate you, basically. But it got really racist and very personal in that sense. And I started thinking a lot more about the differences of me and my fellow Marines and the military a little bit more, where when I first went in, I was very naive. You know, it's the perceptions civilians have of a war. The Iraq War, they have tent areas and they have a rear area. So in Iraq, these guys will get in these trucks and they'll drive and they'll go attack something, and then they come back and they have hot showers and a tent to sleep in. They have a mess hall, drink beer. You know, after dark, they're off. But in a jungle war, you're out there 24 hours a day for at least a month. You don't have time off. You don't sleep in a tent. You don't have a toilet. You don't have hot food. You carry sea rations, which are canned food, right? You don't get to bathe. You don't even take your boots off in case you get hit. So for at least 30 to 40 days, you take your boots off, and you got leeches that have dried up, that had already sucked, you know, some blood out of you. But you don't take your boots off because you might, you know, what happens if you get attacked and you got one boot on? You know, that's not going to help you. So nobody took their boots off. It's a whole different, you know, I don't know how people here think about war, but a jungle war is ugly. I mean, you don't get to come back to the club after, you know, a day of combat and, you know, have a beer and listen to some music and see this club band. You know, jungle war, you are just out there and you're on your own. And if you get hit and you get separated, that's your ass, because there's no front lines there. You know, it's not like, oh, you know what, I don't want to be out here, I think I'm going to go back, man. It's like, no, there's nowhere to go. You go as a group, everywhere you go, or you die. It's weird. But I know that people here have this kind of uninformed view of what war is like, and now it's different, you know, because it's in a different situation. But our war in Korea and Vietnam, there was no front line, you were just out there on your own and try to stay alive. Mm-hmm. We are back out in the jungle, and it's a large operation where our whole regiment was in this one area, And our company was close to a road, and we got overrun. I don't know what that means. That means it's kind of like what it says. They hit you, and they kill people, and they run right through your position. And if they want, they'll stay there, but most of the time they'll hit and guerrilla war. They hit, they run through, and they disappear. So we were like this company-sized ambush. We're probing to get back, see if we could get some contact. And they overran our position. And my squad was the front position that got hit first. So my squad was 3 positions as machine gunners. They got hit with rockets. Each position got hit with, you've seen them in this tube with a pointed thing at the end. They hit all 3 of our positions simultaneously, and I saw them. I had binoculars, and I was just watching, and I saw these red dots. I thought that I saw red, just like that. And so I'm not going to flash back on you, but I think they were infrared scopes that were on these B-40 RPG rocket launchers. And I was looking, and I saw this grass moving. I'm looking way out here, about 100 yards away, and about 20 yards in front of me, I see this grass going. I'm like, what is that? And I look down, and I see this guy is crawling up on my position, about 20 feet. I mean, close, almost close enough to jump up, run up, and grab me. And I look down, and I see this guy going like this. I'm like, whoa, man. And the guy is next to me. I grabbed him, and we pulled him down. I got a grenade. As soon as I did that, they hit all 3 of our position with rockets. We got hit and got flipped out from the explosion. We got hit and got shrapnel in the head. Eardrums are blown out. There's blood. And we came down and we're facing each other. I'm like, oh shit, you look like you fucked up. And he's looking at me like, oh shit, you look like you're gonna die. And we're like trying to move around. And from that point, maybe within about 20 seconds it took for them to running through, and they're shooting people, lobbing grenades. So I got hit with shrapnel from 2 different grenades. I still have a piece in my shoulder. And he got shrapnel in the stomach. And then another guy came through, and I got shot in the chest, and he got shot in the stomach. And then, bam, and then it was done. And it all seemed like, about 20 minutes of violence. It actually was about maybe 35, 40 seconds. All that happened just really quickly. It just seemed like a long time. When we came back, we weren't in the war anymore. I wasn't even in the military anymore. And so my mind wasn't on Vietnamese people at all. It was on being here and what am I going to do now. But in fact, because of some of the late experiences that I had in the war, I developed a different viewpoint about how I saw the Vietnamese and what I was doing there. And it wasn't until I got out that I felt I could be objective about it, and I became more and more against what we were doing. And when I first got back, I got back in November, or October, November, and that February I was enrolled at Long Beach State. And I think I said it was a little too soon for me to get into school, but it came up and some friends of mine were going, so I said, hell, I'm going to do it. And 3 weeks into the beginning of the semester, President Nixon orders the bombing of Cambodia, and immediately there's nationwide protests by activists, students, professionals, whoever. And because of the draft, the whole spectrum of the United States male population was potentially vulnerable to the war and participation, so a lot of people got involved. And where demonstrations on campus at UCLA and Cal State Long Beach, Kent State, Jackson State, Berkeley, stuff is flying all over the place. So I got pretty involved, and that's when I started speaking and joined some anti-war organizations, and then I committed to a community service group that was part of a political organization in Little Tokyo. I think the general population, the population of the United States was against the war. And the liberal elements of those people didn't like the soldiers or members of the military who participated in the war. And most everybody that came out were dogged generally by civilians. If you were wearing a uniform, then you were looked down on. It's a 180 difference from now. Everybody's supposed to appreciate people and their service to the military. But during Vietnam, it was a common occurrence to be spit on at an airport by women and men, just because you had a uniform on and you participated in this horrible war. That was a general feeling. But within the anti-war movement, there were so many veterans that participated, and it became a really important aspect of the movement to have the actual people who fought in there stating that it was wrong, they shouldn't do this, get out,